Hello, I'm Tommy Andrews and I'm here on behalf of the Blues and Roots Ensemble to talk to you about the Charles Mingus tune E's flat, R's flat 2. One thing that I like to do when I'm learning a new tune or teaching a new tune is tap into the source material. It's all too easy for us as improvisers to take all of our harmonic and theoretical knowledge into all of the tunes we play. And by doing this, we run the risk of improvising in the same way on every tune. Instead, what we might do is look at what Mingus has written and what he's played and draw from that for inspiration for our solos. By doing this, our solos are then likely to have more character that's in context with the composition. So let's take a look at what Mingus has given us. If we look at the bass part and parts 1 and 3, we notice that Mingus is using the minor pentatonic scale. So let's draw on that for inspiration and learn the minor pentatonic scale off by heart so that in our solos we can just bring it out whenever we like. You can play along with me. I'm going to play up in minims and then down in minims. And then for the last 4 bars, I'm just going to play the bass line. And then on the second time round, just to get our fingers even more warmed up and get the scale under our fingers, I'm going to play up in quavers and then down in quavers. So you can play along with me. One thing that we often find on blues compositions is the use of an AAB structure. By this, I mean that the first phrase and the second phrase are often the same or similar, and then the last phrase on the last 4 bars is usually a kind of answering phrase. So we have a question, and an answer. And we can see that Mingus has done this in parts 1 and parts 2. However, he's approached each one slightly differently. In part 1, he's done the phrase for the first 4 bars and then he's transposed it up a fourth for the second 4 bars to go with the chord change, which is up a fourth. And then we get the answering phrase at the end. In part 2, both A sections are in the same pitch, so he doesn't transpose, but then there's a different answering phrase at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch those round. So we're going to take part 2 as inspiration first. I'm going to play part 2 and then I'm going to improvise a solo which uses an A with another A which is in the same pitch and then an answering phrase at the end. And then I'm going to take inspiration from part 1. I'm going to play part 1 and then I'm going to improvise a solo where I take an idea for the first 4 bars, but then I transpose it up a fourth for the second 4 bars, and then I do my answering phrase at the end. So hopefully this helps to give you inspiration to work on your own ideas using an AAB structure. one thing that I often find gets overlooked in improvisation is taking material from the composition and putting it into our solos. If we think about it, the written material is often the composer trying to achieve what they think is the best way through the chord sequence. So it's a really good thing to use because it's getting really close to what they're trying to achieve and it's really contextually relevant to the composition. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to improvise a solo where I take little snippets of parts 1, 2 and 3 and turn them into my own solo. So just kind of take stuff from Mingus, play with it a bit and then spout it out. And I may even add in some other little cheeky Mingus things as well. So have a listen and see what happens. If you've been looking at the chord symbols above the music, you'll notice that the last 4 bars start to get a bit more complicated than the first 8 bars, and they do. So what we want to try and do is find an easy way through this. Now, if we look at the chords, there's a pattern going on. In bar 9, so the first bar of the last line, if we look at those chords, in the next bar they go down a tone, and in the bar after that they go down another tone. So we've got a nice pattern there. Whenever you see patterns in music, that gives you the opportunity to improvise using the same material, but just taking it down a step or up a step, depending on where it's going. In this case, it's going down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improvise a phrase in the first bar of this section, and then in each bar, I'm just going to go down a tone until I get to the last bar where I want to try and finish on a nice strong note in the home key. So when you're practicing this at home, what I recommend doing is taking the simplest idea you can possibly muster, putting it in bar 9, and then trying to transpose it down a tone in each bar until you get back to the home key. And you'll sound like a pro straight away if you can do that. So, good luck! So there are a few ideas to get you started on this tune. The first thing we did is we noticed that Mingus used the minor pentatonic scale, so we learnt the scale, practiced it, and now we can bring it out in our solo whenever we like. Then we took ideas from his composition in parts 1, 2 and 3, took little snippets, played around with them a bit, and put them out in our own unique way. Then we noticed he used an AAB structure in parts 1 and 2, so we improvised a phrase on the first 4 bars, and then we imitated it for the next 4 bars, followed by an answering phrase in the B section. And then finally, to negate the complexities of the last 4 bars, we took a really simple phrase and just let that phrase follow the pattern of the chords down a tone each time, finishing with a strong phrase in the last bar. Thanks for listening to this video. I've really enjoyed making it for you guys. Please check out the Blues and Roots Ensemble's social media and website to see what we are up to. It's a super exciting project and I'm really glad to be a part of it. Thank you very much.